Well guys, as you see, the title of the video is true. As of right now, at least filming this video, the QDTE Innovation 100 one-day till expiration covered call strategy ETF is outperforming the QQQ ETF as far as total return goes, again, since the inception of this ETF. Now this honestly even shocked me as I was going through some of the numbers, because a lot of investors across the board, although interested in this ETF QDTE, were very worried about the total return because of the strategy involved. Now in this video, we're going to dig into the exact numbers and backtest this ETF's performance at least since inception, and of course I'm going to show you the comparison to QQQ. Then lastly, I'm going to talk about whether or not I think this ETF is potentially worth buying for investors out there that want to generate a ton of income ASAP. So if you're an income-focused, dividend-focused investor, I recommend you stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. Real quick, for those that haven't already, make sure to go to the first link in my description and grab my new dividend investing ebook, where I share exactly how I went from $0 invested to now earning over $6,000 on a monthly basis and over $1 million invested in the markets. Along with the ebook, you're also going to receive my custom dividend tracker, where you can track your dividend progress on an ongoing basis and reach your dividend investing goals. So make sure to grab yourself a copy of my dividend investing ebook and the new dividend tracker today. It's the first link in my description. So just to back up for a second, in case you guys are new here, the QDTE Innovation 100 one-day till expiration covered call strategy ETF is a relatively new ETF. It's only been trading for a matter of months, and it sort of went somewhat viral in the income-focused, dividend-focused community because of its unique strategy, and of course because how much it's been distributing so far. Now it says right here on the Round Hill investment website, QDTE utilizes a synthetic covered call strategy that seeks to provide current income on a weekly basis while also providing exposure to the price return of the Innovation 100 index. Now this is where this ETF really got popular, along with some other covered call style ETFs out there these days. They are actually paying out distributions or income on a weekly basis. I know as of recent, even some of the yield max ETFs, maybe even all of them at this point, changed from paying out monthly to weekly. And personally, for me as an investor that historically at least has really favored monthly paying dividend stocks and ETFs, I absolutely love the idea of getting paid out weekly, not only because in the future sometime I personally want to utilize my dividends and distributions to pay for things like bills, go on vacations, etc. in the future, but also if you're getting paid out more frequently, it feels as if you're able to compound your portfolio a tad bit quicker, because of course you're getting more cash in your cash balance, which allows you to buy more shares of more stocks and ETFs, which in turn will pay you more dividends and distributions every single week, month, or quarter. So honestly, I'm pretty much sold on the weekly basis payouts, but let's read on. So it says the Round Hill Innovation 100 one-day till expiration covered call strategy ETF, or QDTE, is the first ETF to utilize 0 days to expiry, or ODTE, options on Innovation Index, the Innovation 100 Index, as defined in the fund's prospectus. QDTE seeks to provide overnight exposure to the Innovation 100 Index and generate income each morning by selling out of the money one-day till expiration calls in the index. QDTE is an actively managed ETF, of course. Now, just as of right now, as of filming, this distribution rate on QDTE is currently 31.31%. Now, obviously, even some of the higher yielding names like JEPQ, even SPYI, or even QQQI, you're still looking at only a 10, 12, 15% yield or distribution rate, so 31% is obviously massive. Now it then says why QDTE weekly distributions. This ETF seeks to pay weekly distributions out of the sold option premium, of course, income potential. It seeks to generate income through cover call strategy on the Innovation 100 Index and harnesses volatility. QDTE sells one-day expiration options on the Innovation 100 Index and seeks to exploit structural market mispricings. Now, the reason this ETF is so different compared to other covered call style ETFs like QYLD, for example, they're not selling one-day till expiration cover calls. They're selling monthlies or something of those sorts, which, although are much less labor intensive, also have the potential to earn much less premium. But something like this, selling one-day till expiration cover calls, there is the potential for a ton of income to be earned, which it looks like it's been doing so far. Now, other important aspects of this ETF, again, in case you guys are new here, it has an expense ratio of just shy of 1%, which is sort of to be expected because of course the nature and how actively managed this ETF is. It has almost $500 billion in assets under management, and that's insane considering this ETF has only been around since March 7th. Now, as far as performance goes, this is obviously very interesting. We're talking since inception of 13.59% performance, so it is in the green. This ETF, since inception, has lost some value as far as ETF price goes, which we're going to talk about here in a second, although it's paid back investors and then some if we're talking about distributions. Which, speaking of distributions, again, these are paid weekly, so this is going to get a little bit confusing because it's sort of hard to do the math in your head and even know how much you're really getting paid. But for an ETF that costs around $42 per share, keep in mind, that's how much QDTE costs as of filming this video. The last distributions look like 21 cents, 25 cents, 19 cents, and 44 cents. Those are the last 4 distributions. Those 4 alone for an ETF that cost around $40 per share, that's a massive, massive return. I mean, at this rate, it seems like you would get paid back your entire investment in just a matter of years, if of course it kept paying this consistently. Now, just like something like JEPI or JEPQ, the amounts paid are going to be all over the place depending on things like volatility, option premium, etc. And it looks like there's going to be some weeks historically that are going to be as low as around 14 cents as far as the payout goes, and some big ones as high as over 50 cents. So investors that buy into something like this are sort of left in the dark, and depending on what happens in the markets within the given time frame that you hold on to it, you're going to either receive probably a major or maybe a tiny distribution. But to get into the actual performance, and again to show you guys the performance next to the Qs, this ETF, even with its nice return so far, as far as price return, this ETF is down around 7.6% in the max time frame. It did start out trading at around $45 per share back in March, and right now it's in the 42 range, so it hasn't lost that much value. Again, hopefully it'll make back up some ground, but again, these cover call style ETFs like this is a story that we've seen many times before. Now here's the crazy part, and listen closely. This is what I wanted to really make a video about because I just for fun stacked up QDTE next to the QQQ, and again this is just since March. So this is sort of a cherry picked data set because again it's only since the inception of QDTE, but over the last 0.57 years, which is a decent amount of time frame I guess, QDTE has a total return of around 10.93%, and this is with a $10,000 investment and dividends reinvested along the way, and QQQ has around a 8.58%, or if we were to annualize this out, around a 19% and around a 15%. So the crazy thing is either way, even if dividends are not being reinvested, even if you spent the dividends, QDTE, at least in this time frame, has outperformed the Qs, which at least sort of shocked me because it's very hard to outperform the Qs unless of course we're in some sort of bear market. Now, does that mean that longer term, the Round Hill Innovation 100 one-day till expiration covered call strategy ETF is going to outperform the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ 100 or anything to that sort of pedigree? I personally think there's absolutely no way it's going to, but I do think that there is something to be said about an ETF like this that utilizes an aggressive, interesting strategy like this one does, utilizing short duration options and at least trying to get weekly distributions for investors. I think that's absolutely awesome. Not to mention, I've already talked about this in the past, but for us dividend income focused investors, I also think that you have to try to find some fun aspects into this journey because it is a long and strenuous journey. I'm personally on my 8th year of taking this very seriously, stacking up assets, buying stocks and ETFs consistently to the point to where right now I currently earn on average around $7,400 per month. But I think the fact that QDTE and other ones of these new strategies that pay weekly, I think they're a ton of fun to have in your portfolio, just something to look forward to, whether it pays a 20-cent distribution, a 30-cent distribution, or a 50-cent distribution. I think it's sort of fun to have as a side position in your portfolio. But for me personally, I would never feel comfortable enough to invest a large amount of money in something like that just because of the risk involved. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not a good investment. I'm just saying for me personally, I would utilize it as sort of a satellite position and try to have some fun with it. So now that we went through QDTE, the Innovation 100 one-day till expiration covered call strategy ETF, I showed you guys how this ETF works, the historical payouts at least as of so far, and I even showed you that this ETF is outperforming the Qs, at least as of filming this video. I want to know down below in the comments, do you currently own any shares of QDTE as of right now? And if you do, how many shares do you have across your portfolios? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.